Hello friends, welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal Idunyate, and today we are working in my 2021 October daily album, telling story number 30. So moving right along. Today's story documents a special event that my sister hosted last year celebrating her dog's 15th birthday. She had a party on the 30th that she titled Halloween, and it was a really fun opportunity for us to get together at her awesomely Halloween decorated house and to celebrate her dog's birthday, which was the 29th of October, so the day before the celebration. At her house, she had a collection of skeletons in their living room, and while we were sitting there, Izzy was cuddling with one of the skeletons, and I wanted to snap some pictures of her because I love it. I love that she's into the creepy stuff and loves this time of year just as much as I do. It totally makes the whole season and just brings me so much joy. So I have this picture of her giving a great big hug to my sister's skeleton, whose name eludes me at this moment. I don't know if it's Mr. Bones or if she has a different name for it. In fact, I'm going to have to ask her because I really don't remember. But regardless of his name, the skeleton was the inspiration for the design of this layout. I had purchased at the beginning of the season a set of transparency or acetate embellishments from Tim Holtz, and one of the included pieces was this really awesome skeleton, or it's kind of like an x-ray of a head on a black transparency. I love the way that this looks, and I knew I wanted to use it in some way on this layout. What I decided to do was to type up my journaling on this lighter blue paper. This was one of the papers from the Fancy Pants collection, so it was made to go along with some of the pattern papers in the collection. One side is pink and the other side is blue, and I did actually debate using the pink because there is so much pink in the photo of Izzy, but ultimately decided to have this side contrast a little bit more by using the blue. It still pulls in some of the blue tones as well, so it doesn't not fit, it's just contrasting, right? So your eye is a little bit more drawn to the transparency skeleton. I added my journaling onto the paper, and then on top of it, I added the transparency and adhered it down by stitching twice across the top. So now it functions as a flip up, so decoration with the journaling underneath. Because the transparency is black, the plastic piece is black, you can't actually see the text underneath until you flip it up. I also added an Avery tab at the bottom, which I will go through some of my tiny phrase stickers to fill that in so you can see it a little bit better. And that will serve as the functioning for flipping the plastic up or down, and then allows the plastic to not gain as much or as many fingerprints as it might, because the fingerprints do show up pretty significantly if you're touching the plastic all over. Which is why you see me rubbing it out with my onesie costume, which I was wearing as I made this layout. When I was filming these videos, I did so live with my patrons, so I believe that this day we actually had done some kind of Halloween event. So I was wearing my onesie, and it actually might have even been Halloween, where I was wearing the onesie before going out to go trick-or-treating. I can't remember now because we had so many events that we ended up wearing our costumes too. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But that is why I'm in costume as I am crafting in this album, which I highly recommend if you're in the spirit of Halloween and making an October daily album. So around the edge of that page, I felt like it needed something to help ground it a little bit more so the floating head didn't feel so floaty in there. I ended up using this really thin washi tape from Heidi Swap. It was from her Halloween collection last year. Put that around the perimeter. I think it's maybe 1/4 of an inch thick, and then went ahead and hole punched it, and now it was ready to go in the album. For the photo side, I'm going to add a small cluster of these die cuts to the bottom left corner of the page. They just felt like they fit in pretty nicely with the feel of this page. So I have one that's kind of a, I don't know, more of a label, one of them that looks like a little gravestone. And then I had pulled out two of these metal pieces, again from Tim Holtz, and wanted to put one of them onto the page. I ended up going with the skull and crossbones. It just made a whole lot of sense once again. But in order to keep the metal piece on the page, since this is going to go outside of the page protector, what I'm going to do is actually stitch it down. So I'm adding a tiny bit of adhesive onto the back just to hold it in place while I do my stitching. Then I'm going to pull over my awl tool, which is just a poking tool. It allows me to put holes into the photo and the die cuts in order to make stitching this a little bit easier. I first tried to make the holes with my needle, but it was a little too frail or a little too hard to grip. So the awl tool comes in handy for that. And then I'm just using some plain white thread from my sewing machine to stitch it on. I'll go back and forth a bunch of times and then tie it off in the back and trim off the tails of the thread itself. And that's going to hold it on there permanently. So now I no longer have to worry about that piece falling off. I could have made the stitching go around almost like an X knot. I don't even know what that's called, but maybe you understand what I'm talking about. But where you crisscross over the top, I could have done that and that would have made it even more secure, but I think it's going to be just fine the way that it is. We'll stick that in the album. And last but not least, I need to add my number 30 to the story. I have a couple of different options that I am toying with. I have a wood veneer, I have a gold kind of foily number, and then I also have a black chipboard number. The black blends in a bit too much, so that one is out. And I really end up liking the way that the gold foil pops off of the page. The page itself, between the photo and the skeleton flip up, feels already kind of shiny. So having the extra bling of that letter on there just gave me the feels. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that one down. Once I get the number down, I will add the photo into the album and we will call this layout done. I hope you enjoyed seeing how my spread came together today. If you did, I would love a thumbs up on this video down below. And if you haven't already, I hope you consider subscribing to my channel. I will be back with the last day in this album very soon. Until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye, friends.